let's be honest, most houseplants actually just don't live up to the hype. However, these are the ones that I think do. These are the plants that have truly earned their place in my collection. They're not all trendy, they're not all perfect, but they're here to stay. And they've proven their worth. Let's get straight into it. I want to start with this guy. This guy is so good. This is Alocasia Black Velvet Variegated, or Pink Black Velvet. Basically the pink variegated version of Alocasia Black Velvet. And you know what? It's amazing. I've always loved the original Black Velvet. I will put a photograph on the screen. Why not? And the reason I like this plant anyway is due to the amazing texture. I always say that it looks a little bit like the tread on a car tire when you actually look at it really closely. I think that's amazing. And you know what? The variegated one is just as amazing. Hopefully, I can get that right up to the screen and you can really just see how incredible this is. This is one of the most beautiful variegated plants. Now, I've had this from a tiny tissue cultured plant and it's grown honestly slowly. It has. However, it's got a lot of good root right now and does have some corms poking up. Don't know if you will be able to see the corms in there. Hopefully you can. But that does make Alocasia, in some cases, good investment plants if you pluck the corms and you sell them. In this case, the price on this is going down. That's fine. Honestly, guys, this has got nothing to do with why I like these plants in this video. These are just plants that are really good to have, and I think they've proven the test of time. So off the back of that, I'm only showing you him because he's here, not because he's necessarily made it into the list. Although he could very easily make it into the list. This is Alocasia Black Velvet Gold. Again, he was bought from a tiny tissue culture plant. And the difference here is hopefully, if my camera wants to show you, is that the variegation looks gold due to the fact that it's aurea variegation, so it's yellow, and it's just the way that it throws against the burgundy backs on the back of the leaves. I may as well just come up to the camera and show you them side by side, just in case. Obviously, yes, this is smaller. Most people obviously prefer the pink. I get it. In this video, it looks more impressive anyway. But just in case, there is the gold. Still a nice choice. Still a nice choice. If you don't like pink, maybe this could be it for you. In my experience, no different to the care of a black velvet. The next plant I want to talk about, I will pick it up for you and show you it to the camera, but for now I'm sitting it on my chair because he's quite a big boy. It's got to be the Monstera mint, guys. So this has really earned its place in my collection. I didn't think it was going to, honestly. I just thought, you know what? You know, I've got the Albo, that is such a classic, and it is, but I wanted to put this in here for people that maybe burn the Monstera Albo a lot, you know, with the sun, with whatever it is that you're doing, maybe underwatering. This plant is a little bit more forgiving. You'll get borderline the same vibe. I mean, it's worth a bit more money if you want to sell it, but again, that has nothing to do with this video. It's really earned its place in my collection, and I'm saying that against not typically liking mint things. It really depends on the plant. I know I have a few things, but generally speaking, I think I've never liked mint just because of the connotation it used to throw. People used to ask more money for things that mint when they weren't mint. That's very different to liking things that are actually mint. You feel me? But this guy, he is one of 3 different mints that I have, and it's all from the same mother plant, but he's incredible. And he does need cut, and I would like to sell the top of him because he's getting a little bit too big. I don't know if you can see the gaping hole over there now that this plant has created, but if I try and move it down in front of me so you probably can't see me, he is just incredible. If I try and bring his leaves up to the camera so you get a good sense of what he looks like. There is a soft box on the leaves here, so if he looks a little bit blown out, that is why. I promise you, he is mint. He is very, very mint. This is the way that it goes. So a little bit easier than an Albo, but harder to find. That doesn't really matter. I think they behave the same, guys. Honestly, I do. I don't think there's any difference between this guy and an Albo. Personally, I think if you can do one, you can do this one. And honestly, he is mint, as we would say up north in the UK. I absolutely love him. This leaf is a little bit brighter actually than the others, but these top 2 leaves here, you see those? Those top 2 are newer and they're a little bit greener, so they do kind of fade up a little bit, but they will still throw mint and not white. As you can probably see there, it's not a white Monstera, it is a mint. So I'm gonna put him back because he's very large, like large, look at him. And we will move on to the next plant. But I do recommend him. Plant number 3, guys. Plant number 3. Microsorum. thailandicum. Yes, if this is your first time witnessing this plant, I am not doing any trickery whatsoever. There is no special lighting. This plant is blue. It's blue. It's Microsorum thailandicum, also known as the blue oil fern. And honestly, this thing is incredible. It's not quite as blue as of late because it's been in my cabinet that is next to me, and there's a lot of plants in there at the minute, and it's sort of pushed out of the way. It's not quite under optimal lighting. The more light you give this thing, the bluer it will go. So you will see when I bring it up to the camera, I will try my best anyway, you will see a lot of green, but you will also see a lot of blue. And I do have some lovely maturity coming in on him. Let me try not to get my microphone with my hair or the plant. Can you see this? This is blue. And we're kind of in the dark here right now because I'm fighting with really bad weather outside. So this is why we look a little bit dark. But look at this guy. Can you see him? And can you see his color? Let me cover my face and try and look through the plant. He is so amazingly cool. And I just think everyone needs to have one of these. You can buy them here and there. Not sure, depending on what country you're in or anything else. You can buy them though. And honestly, the performance on this plant, they have the feel of like a, like a Hoya, like a thick Hoya, but they don't really behave like a Hoya. So they are a lot more water loving. Maybe you could argue they're very similar to like something like Hoya polyneura or something like that. But honestly, I'm growing this in ambient. It's growing in about 55%. It does not care. It loves me all the same. Now, I first found this plant back in, was it like 2021 or 2? And I got it in and virtually no one had heard of it. And now you see it everywhere in shops. And I think that's really cool. That's really cool because I feel like I've brought this to everybody's attention. Not everyone has it, not everyone wants it, and I think they're put off by the fact that it's a fern. But honestly, guys, it doesn't really behave like a fern. That is him. Let's move on. Microsorum thailandicum. Please get one. Please love them. If you want to know what I'm doing to keep him blue, good light, okay temperature, and NurtureSystem, obviously. Listen, I can't do a video without talking about this plant. This is not the biggest plant I own. You may not see it in the frame, it's highly unlikely, but there is a really large plant hanging down this side of my camera frame. He's huge, and this is from him. This is Epipremnum, Panatum Cebu Blue. And honestly, I do like a good blue plant and I do like a good silver plant, okay? That is something that I do like, which is why the mints and stuff like that have kind of earned a place because they're not a million miles from that. But this guy, all right, yes, he has a little bit of yellow. As I said, these plants aren't perfect and they aren't necessarily trendy. However, you just have to get one. You have to get one. You have to get one. They're so easy. I just stuck some vines in with basically, I'll be honest, no roots. And they've just done really well. Like, I would love to really cut this back and then start bushing out another plant. Very easy to do with this. I just haven't bothered. And at the minute, it's just sort of grown on my back wall and it just takes over, frequently dries out. Hence, to be honest, this is probably why we're getting a little bit of yellow here. And this leaf here also has a little bit of yellow on. Am I bothered? No. Am I worried? No. Do I care? No. Could I snip this off? I thought I'd leave it on just to explain that point. They are so easy. Could be one of the easiest Epipremnum there is going. And personally, these are really cheap now. And they're more attractive, in my personal opinion, guys, than a lot of the other Epipremnum out there. That is personal opinion, of course. This is the plant that has absolutely stood the test of time and it's earned its place in my collection. And I could not be happier to have two of them. But if you need a sign to spend some money on just some more affordable Epipremnum or houseplants or hanging plants, this is your sign. This is your sign. You're welcome. So this plant has really stood the test of time and it's proven its worth in my collection. And honestly, this says an awful lot for this plant because I love Hoya, okay? I just don't necessarily have the space or the way of growing to grow a lot of them. So I did end up just coming here kind of without any. But I always go back to a couple of Hoya. And I will mention the other one very briefly because I'm in the process of trying to buy another one. But this here is Hoya polyneura. This is technically the Brogade, the silver version. I'll just put it up to the camera like this. You might be able to see there is some silver in there. I have 2 more to show you just for flavor's sake, but really I'm trying to just represent the polyneura in general. So the reason I like this, it's also known as fishtail Hoya, and you can probably tell, you know, the leaves look like fishtails, but I find it really easy. And this Hoya specifically appeals to my watering style just that little bit more. Although I am neglectful, I do tend to err on the overwatering side of things. But this guy has really genuinely proven himself. I bought this guy as a little 2-leafer, and I think I bought this one from Rare Hoya UK on Etsy. Shout out, really nice Hoya. I bought this from them and it's grown really, really well. So as well as that, just again to show you the flavor of polyneura that you can get, this is the Hoya polyneura inverse variegated or inner variegated, basically variegation running up the middle, and it is yellow variegation. I have the Hoya polyneura full silver, which is there, which if you want to know how silver he is, here is the cebu blue and here is the full silver next to him. Borderline the same vibes. So these guys are just genuinely here to represent Hoya polyneura, which as you can tell is why I have a few different types, because I love them. What is this, I hear you ask? This is Begonia White Ice. Now I have a couple of Begonia, but I still keep reaching back for this one. This is the easiest one. It always looks insane. It looks so bushy. I have tied it up, but it's not struggling or anything like that. And it always looks so unbelievably stunning. Now it's not for everybody because Begonia isn't for everybody, and I understand that. And I don't love every Begonia, I'm going to be completely honest. But this one's made it in because of how easy it is and how good looking it is. And I believe if I had this out in a beautiful pot, you know, in the middle of my kitchen, and someone that came in saw it, I think they would love it. The same thing with other plants, don't get me wrong. Like if I put this blue oil fern out, literally, I think people would think it was a fake plant. But I really, really love this one. And it's just so cute. And the new leaves come in. What's the best one to show you? Could be this. The new leaves come in a beautiful reddish color. And then they just turn into this wonderful spotted medley. Really easy to propagate. Funny enough, I've not had problems with this one. So this is beautiful. And we love it. Does it need repotted? Probably. Begonia White Ice. Please get yourself one because they look gorgeous. Gorgeous. All right, shout out to this plant, but do not shout out to the way it looks. This is Anthurium Delta Force, and honestly, it has earned its place. So very quickly, before I tell you what I like about this plant, I must explain the state of it. So it lives in my living room in my IKEA Millsboro cabinet. However, it does have the shelf in, and that's because I got so overrun with plants, I didn't have time to buy the nice acrylic shelves. So it's been sat literally under a shelf. So it's been growing things and it's having to grow like along the cabinet like this, look. So this is why the plant is looking very squashed and honestly a bit underdeveloped because it's kind of in the dark a little bit. However, must shout it out. I do still have my big mother plant upstairs. This is just cutting from it. And honestly, I'm kind of in the mood to sell this, so I could do that. He's very good and he's very tough, you know. This is a tough ass plant, guys. It honestly is. And I think it has earned its place because it's very different. And I like the fact it's different. It's not a pattern you can get on any other Anthurium, personally. It's just probably not going to die on you. The roots are very, very good. This gets neglected, oh my goodness, too often, way too often, and it still manages to look absolutely fantastic. I mean, granted, this one doesn't. This one doesn't. This is all over the place and he's flowering. I nearly cut these off, but I thought, no, I'll just show you like what the tea is and what's going on because that's the kind of channel I run. I like to be honest. But I must tell you how much he's stood the test of time. And the fact that he's growing in these conditions and he's still like, he's okay, tells you a lot. So if you're in the market for an Anthurium that is now reasonably affordable, looks very ornate, and honestly won't really give you any problems because it is from Clarinervium, then I'd maybe get it. And again, this is not the best advert for it, but I think you should give it a go. You see that there? It is very, very stunning. It just needs space to spread out and maybe a little bit extra feed. Anthurium Delta Force, gotta love them, gotta love them. The next plant that's earned its place in my collection is this guy. Is he new? Yes. Yes, I know he is. He is a few weeks old at this point, but when I say he has earned his place, I mean it. So, what is it? This is, and I'm going to read it out because you guys know I'm practicing this one, Aspidistra elatior variegated. This is a variegated cast iron plant, as in those plants that are super tough. I have two down here beside me near the cat's litter tray. Unfortunately, they are chewed to hell because one of my cats loves to chew them. So this one is probably going to be a cabinet plant. The reason it's earned its place is this has probably been on my wish list since I started my houseplant channel. Maybe definitely since 2020. I would love to go back and look and see when it actually popped up. I think it's popped up once or twice over the years. And if you watched my previous video, last week's video, I will tell you all about like basically how this came to be and how I got this. But basically I was at like a plant show and it was on a stand and I just didn't expect to see it at all and I had to buy it and I bought it for 20 euros and I'm absolutely buzzing about it. But it's earned its place because I've wanted it for so long. I keep its non-variegated counterpart and it just does not die. The only thing that happens to it is it gets chewed on. Okay, fair enough. It's non-toxic, by the way, so if you're looking for something very sexy that is non-toxic, there you go. If you'd like a video on non-toxic alternatives to like maybe all the stuff people tell you to get, then let me know and I'll probably do a video on that. I think that could be quite cool. So leave a comment if that's something you may be looking for and I will avoid the common plants as much as possible. You know, the ones you always hear about. I will try and do that as much as possible. But anyway, this guy, look at him. Seriously. I mean, who would not want that in their collection forever? So he has well and truly earned his place and I am obsessed with him. And it's a real shame that he has this little dint in his leaf. But I think the next leaf, whenever it arrives, it might be a little bit of time. I think he's going to look incredible. Is he rooting? Before we move on, is he rooting? Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He is definitely rooting. So we love him for that. We love him. That is variegated cast iron plant, absolutely earned its place. Amazing. Another anthurium that has absolutely earned its place in my collection would be this guy. This is the Anthurium pallidiflorum super narrow. And yes, he is very narrow. He's getting quite mature and honestly, he's super narrow. I mean, what else can you say? He's super narrow. I absolutely love him. Very occasionally he will throw out a fatter leaf. But, and I mean it is very occasionally, like this is one of his newest leaves here and it is very thin. Look, sorry, I'm grabbing two of them. There's a thin one. His newest one is this one and it's still throwing thin as hell. Look at it, it's amazing. Now, unfortunately, this has snapped. Oh, so if you see this leaf turning, it snapped off here, look. I don't know if you can see this. So what happened was I was watering last week. I knocked it down. I managed to basically grab it just in time, but there is some damage there and I have only just noticed that. So this leaf here is just going to turn and drop off, unfortunately. That's really sad. Another thing that happened, and I'm very upset about this, is this here was also an inflorescence along with this one, and I was going to basically make seeds from this plant and cross it with itself. Really annoying. Bit of a shame, because if I hadn't knocked it off, it wouldn't have happened. However, let's talk about the plant real quick. You don't have to get the super narrow, okay? I've not owned the normal pallidiflorum. However, I would imagine there is not much of a difference in care. I like it just because it's longer. It almost appears longer a lot of the time because it's so narrow, but I just think it's beautiful. I did sell if you remember guys, I had a problem with my horse a couple of months ago now and basically I needed to pay some vet bills. So I had a sibling to this plant and I sold the full plant. So somebody has a twin of this because I've only ever bought one. So we love him and we always want him and he's absolutely earned a place. He's earned a place over the Anthurium. I've forgotten the name. I can't think of the name of the plant. That is horrific on my part. Anyway, it's earned its place over all of that. And I love him to death. And I honestly think you guys would too. I've tried to put plants in this video where obviously I think you would love them. Another plant that I actually don't own right now that totally has earned its place in my collection. I know that seems weird, but I only got rid of it recently because I forgot about it and I accidentally mostly killed it. So I'd rather just buy another one and start again. And that is the amazing Philodendron Florida Ghost. Listen, there is not a lot to dislike about this plant in my personal opinion. Now it does mean you need to like pretty shapes, you need to be okay with climbers, and you need to like the colour change it goes through, because not everybody does. But if you can get away with all of that, then Florida Ghost is going to be the best plant ever. They do grow quite quickly. If you want to keep them super white, you need light, but you also need heat. Now, luckily, more light usually comes along with heat. So I think if you just supplement it with more light and it's not, you know, somewhere really cold near your window, then you should be okay with it. But I feel like I have to promote this plant every year. And I think every year since I've started my channel, I have actually done that. So here's this year's promotion of Florida Ghost before we roll into spring, where I inevitably promote it again and probably buy one. I think I might wait till spring. Is there a plant that you think has truly earned being in your collection? It could be anything at all, literally anything. Please leave a comment down below. I really want to see what you guys think is super, super worth it, because collections are getting smaller nowadays. So please leave a comment. Thank you for watching, guys, and I will see you next time. Bye.